Fucking piece of shit bike. You just had to break, didn't you? Fuck you. Today, we're gonna be replacing spark plugs, because my bike that normally sounds like this now sounds like this. And since my New Year's resolution this year is to actually start putting out videos on my channel, figured a good first step would be having a bike that actually is rideable. So we're replacing spark plugs. While we're at it, I'm also going to be replacing the air filter because we're going to be taking all that stuff off anyway, and figured, you know, it's probably about time. The bike's got about 15,000 miles, so we're doing some maintenance. The first step is going to be getting the seat off. Since I have an aftermarket bolt kit, mine takes a fancy torque socket, but the OEM screws should be Allen keys. All right, seat's off. So now the next step is we need to get the tank ready to tilt up. Now, I'm going to be doing it the cheater way because these pieces here for me are actually 3M double-sided taped on. From the factory, they should just have little like Velcro pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these pieces and kind of pull them out from behind, which will allow the tank to tip up so you're not scratching all those pieces up. Next, you have a 6mm Allen screw here. So just loosen that guy. Once that screw is out, your tank should just lift up. All right, then once the screw is out, your tank should just lift up. Now what I like to do is take a 2x4 and that'll help keep the tank up. So since we're going to be taking the top off of the airbox here, first we're going to need to pull this evap hose, just like so. And then we're going to have a bunch of Phillips head screws all the way around and one in the center here that we're going to need to take out. All right, so once all the screws are loose, you can just take the cover right off, and there's the air filter. So let's pop this bad boy out. Holy shit. Okay, yeah, that definitely needs replaced. All right, so the air filter definitely needed replaced. I'm sure that's not helping the situation of it running bad. Here's what the one looked like that was in the bike, and this is the new one. I am just going with an OEM Suzuki air filter. It's what the bike is tuned to be running on, so I just didn't feel it necessary to go with one of like the Sprint P08 super high flow ones. These ones are good as they are, so we're just gonna replace it with an OEM one. Now, if all we were doing was the air filter replacement, we would simply pop the new air filter back in, close everything back up, and put everything back the way it was. But since we are replacing the spark plugs, we actually need to take this whole entire thing out. So we're gonna have a few things we need to do. First, we're gonna have a air temp sensor right here that's gonna need unplugged. There is another hose down here with another one of those clamps that's gonna need to take off. And then we are going to have to be pulling the entire air box out. So let me do that real quick. Okay, so now that I got that hose off, as you can see, we are going to have some screws that are going to need to be loosened. So it's going to be that one right there, that one back in there, and then there's going to be two more on the other side. So what those do is those are the clamps that hold the velocity stacks onto the intake. So using the hole in the frame, I don't know if you can see, but it's going to give you direct access, there we go, to that screw. So you're going to have 4 screws that are going to be holding the velocity stacks onto your intake. So we're going to loosen those up. Okay, so once all those clamps on the velocity stacks are loosened, last thing that should be holding it in is going to be a 10mm bolt right at the top here. So we're going to go ahead and get that loose. All right, so once it's loose, should be able to just simply lift it up. I'll unplug that sensor because I wasn't able to get to that earlier. Sensor unplugged, and it should come out. It turns out there was another hose over here on the right side of the bike. Once that is loose, airbox comes out. Okay, so now that the airbox is out, each one of these things here is going to be your coil packs. So those are sitting on top of the spark plug. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to unplug each and every one of them and take them off of the engine. That's going to give us access to all the spark plugs. I am going to pull this hose here to kind of help give me a little bit more room. All right, so coil packs are out. They do take a little bit of some encouragement to get out. They are stuck in there pretty good. So now we are ready to start pulling the spark plugs. If you guys do not have a spark plug socket, it's basically just looks like a regular socket, but it's actually got rubber down in there. I highly advise investing in a spark plug socket. They make life so much easier because what it will actually do is it will extract the spark plug out of the hole as well. And they also will keep from breaking the new ones once it comes time to start putting them in. So you're going to need kind of a funky combination of some extensions to be able to get down in there, but it shouldn't be too difficult to get them out. All right, so I got the first one pulled. Me personally, when I'm replacing spark plugs, I like to do them one at a time. So when I pull one, I go ahead and put the new one right back in, just so you aren't keeping your cylinder open to getting all sorts of dust and debris falling down inside of it. But yeah, so here's the old one. I know you probably can't really see too well, but the electrode on it is definitely quite a bit smaller than the new one. So yeah, these were definitely in need for some replacing. So I'm gonna start putting the new ones back in. All right, so the spark plugs are all replaced. Went pretty smoothly. Yeah, they definitely needed replaced. I am going to do one additional final step, and I'm going to torque all of the spark plugs to 8 foot-pounds. That's what the specification is. So we go here, 1, 2, 3. All right, so got it set to 8 foot-pounds. So now I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna torque all the spark plugs. All right, so now that the spark plugs are all torqued, we can start putting the coil packs back on. All right, so spark plugs are in and torqued. The coil packs are back on and plugged in. So now it's just a matter of putting everything back together. I'm gonna put that hose back on, get that connected, get the air box back in, and get everything put back together, and then we'll start it up and see if it's running better. All right, air box is back in and all connected. Now we can't forget to put this pretty new air filter in. So that'll sit in there just like so. And then you may notice that there's a screw hole. So the top screw in your air box cover is actually going to be what goes in there. So as long as you have that set in there, you are all golden. All right, cool. So we got the air box in. So now the last thing that we just need to do is tip the gas tank back down and then put the bolt in the top of it there. Put the seat back on and we are all done. Oh yeah, sounds a lot better. Well guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Hopefully it helps you out if you're looking at doing this sort of stuff on your bike. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel while you're at it. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you later.